You all thought Soulja Boy was only arguing with Marlon Wayans, but no, he is fighting his own past, and he is losing very badly. It all started with a small comment on the radio, but now it has opened the door to Soulja's biggest secrets. And believe me, it is much messier than anyone ever thought. For a while, you may not have known why Soulja's reaction was so strong. The thing is, when someone like Big Draco is hiding so much, even the smallest comment can feel like an attempt to expose everything about them. That is why he immediately went on X and responded with something like, "I cannot believe I am arguing with someone who dresses up like a white chick. What is wrong with me?" Marlon, being an experienced comedian, did not back down. He responded quickly, going straight for Soulja's carefully built image. And let me tell you, that image started falling apart very quickly. The music industry had been talking for years about Soulja's contradictions. Everything really started to come out during an interview with William DeBatis on Tasha K's podcast. He came prepared, dropping receipts about his supposed encounter with Soulja. It was wild, he came with everything. He even said something like, "Take this, you white," and it left everyone surprised. He is really into some of the race play stuff, but here is the thing, I am not sure if this was really him or if it was just the drunk version of him. William gave very specific details about Soulja's condo. He described the layout, the bottles in his liquor cabinet, and even tattoos that you cannot see in any public pictures. That kind of detail is not something you can just make up. And this was not the first time something like this came up. A few years ago, Vivica Fox also hinted at something when she talked about that famous XXL cover with Soulja and 50 Cent. When she was asked about it, she seemed to suggest there was more going on behind the scenes. About 50 blaming ratings on quote-unquote gay stuff, she hit him with "What were your thoughts?" when 50C blamed the second season ratings dip. In just 60 seconds, we saw a classic projection, attacking others for the things you feel insecure about yourself. But this beef reached a whole new level when Marlon dropped that country diss track. When that song hit the internet, it should have been the end for Soulja. You could almost feel the tension in the air. People went crazy when they heard it. The track spread everywhere, through group chats, played by DJs in clubs, and even on some radio stations. In no time, Marlon went from being an actor responding to a viral sensation. The lines in that track hit harder than any comedy routine ever could. Just when everyone thought things could not get any crazier, TMZ caught Marlon outside a restaurant in Los Angeles. You might think he would try to cool things down and act like the beef did not matter, but instead, he doubled down. He made it clear, "It is in your blood now." That comment crossed a big line. In Hollywood and the music world, everyone knows each other's business. The difference is, they do not usually talk about it publicly unless someone gives them a reason to. When Soulja went after Kai, he basically gave Marlon the permission to go even harder, and that is exactly when the secrets started coming out of Soulja's closet. One of the biggest contradictions in Soulja's image is his tough guy persona compared to what allegedly happens when someone actually challenges him. Let us take a look at that. Let us talk about that wild night at Soulja's house that ended with gunfire and serious legal issues. This part of Soulja's story might be one of the craziest and least known by most people. One night at his mansion, what was supposed to be a fun celebration for his album quickly turned into something straight out of a crime drama. Soulja says that masked intruders broke into his home, and he felt like he had to act quickly to protect himself. In his version of events, he described the situation in a way that made it sound like something from an action movie. He said, "Do not mind my probation officer, man. Who the heck is in my house? Hey, pass me the gun." According to Soulja, when he peered through the door, he saw 3 or 4 people running through his house. At that moment, things escalated quickly. In the chaos, Soulja claims he reacted as anyone would in that situation. He said he started shooting to defend himself and make the intruders leave. As the legal battle played out, Droop hired a powerful attorney, Brian Steele, who was also known for defending other high-profile cases, including Young Thug. Steele helped Droop by pointing out the lack of evidence in the prosecution's case. With this expert defense, Droop's case started to fall apart. His charges were dropped, and he only ended up serving 1 year, including the 9 months he had already spent in jail awaiting trial. This whole incident raises more questions about Soulja's actions and how he has handled his career and relationships over the years. It is clear that this was not the first time Soulja's actions have led to trouble. In fact, there have been rumors in the industry for years about his unpredictable behavior and his tendency to get into heated situations. This event added another layer of mystery to his already complicated reputation. What is even more surprising is that Soulja's former right-hand man, AB, later backed up Droop's story. Even though they had fallen out a long time ago, AB came forward and claimed that Soulja's version of the story was not entirely truthful. He even said that Soulja's account of the night seemed shaky and that there were many inconsistencies in what he had told the police. For the people who were there that night, it seems like the truth will never be fully known. The different versions of the story, combined with the legal outcomes, only add to the confusion. What is clear is that this wild night in Soulja's mansion has become a key moment in his troubled history, one that raises more questions than it answers. The whole situation also highlights the dangerous world of the music industry and the kinds of people that can get caught up in it. There is a lot of pressure in the industry, and for someone like Soulja, who has always been known for his bold, attention-grabbing actions, it seems like trouble was always just around the corner. In the end, the story of that wild night at Soulja's mansion is one of many that shows the ups and downs of his career. It also reminds us that the truth is often not as simple as it seems, especially when there are so many different people involved and so many layers to the story. Whether Soulja's version of events is true or not, the incident will always be a part of his legacy, one more chapter in the complicated history of the self-proclaimed first rapper to do everything. All black mask on, running through the crib, one run to the front door, I hop out, I start shoe, bow, 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 shot the bow, shot his ass, bow, 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 all the underscore. Run out the door, they run out the door, this on the floor, but the full story is way messier. The shooting incident involved a man named Droop, and the two versions of what happened that night couldn't be more different. According to Soulja, masked intruders broke into his home, and he had no choice but to defend himself. But according to Drew, he and his crew were. It turns out that the people who broke into Soulja's house were actually part of his label, not random intruders. The trouble started when they heard one of their tracks playing at Soulja's album release party, with Soulja's verse added to it, but without their permission or any payment. What Droop shared in recent interviews makes the situation even worse. According to him, Soulja had promised them production credits, feature opportunities, and a share of the streaming revenue when they first signed. But after months of working hard to create content and choreography for Soulja, none of those promises were kept. They felt like they got no recognition for all the work they put in. When Droop was asked how much Soulja Boy owes them, he said, "He owes me everything. Honestly, everything he has, he owes to us. From the dances he used to do, to the dance moves, to the clothes with the paint on them, that was all us. We created all of that." Droop says that when he confronted Soulja about stealing their track, things got really heated. He even claims he slapped Soulja twice during the argument. Droop explained, "I asked him what he was going to do about it, and then I slapped him again." Droop says that after the second slap, he got hit in the front of his thigh, and that is when Soulja allegedly pulled the trigger. Instead of bleeding out right there, Droop managed to get to a car and was rushed to the hospital. When he woke up, he found himself in handcuffs. That is right, Soulja had already told the police his version of what happened, which led to Droop being charged with attempted robbery and facing up to 25 years in prison. What makes it even worse are the problems with Soulja's first police statement. At first, Soulja first said that 5 masked men broke into his house, but later he changed it to 3. The descriptions of the weapons kept changing with every interview. However, Droop hired a strong lawyer, Brian Steele, who also represents Young Thug. Steele quickly pointed out that there was no real evidence, and because of that, the prosecution's case fell apart. In the end, Droop served only 1 year in total, which included the 9 months he had already spent in jail. What is even crazier is that Soulja's former right-hand man, AB, actually supported Droop's story, even though they had a falling out a long time ago. When Soulja talked about the masked intruders, His voice was said to be shaking, which made it seem like something really traumatic happened that night. However, people still have questions about who is really telling the truth. This pattern of taking advantage of others goes beyond just Droop's situation. Many artists who have worked with Soulja say they have had the same experience. Soulja promises them exposure, production, and payment, but none of that ever happens. Instead, their work is used and credited to Soulja, while he and his business continue to take advantage of them. Soulja's actions seem to follow the same pattern. Remember when he claimed he was the first rapper to launch a gaming console? It turned out to be just a rebranded Chinese emulator with a much higher price than it should have been. Or when he said he owned a huge mansion, but it was really just an Airbnb rental. And now, with the whole Trump inauguration crypto event, he basically said he only answers to the highest bidder. He even said, "They pay me a lot of money. Obama never put any money in my pocket. Kamal ain't never put no money in. My mother pocket Trump put money in my pocket." All these contradictions help explain why Marlon's jokes hit so hard. He was pointing out how Soulja spent more time claiming to be the first to do things instead of actually building a long-lasting career. This is exactly why Soulja quickly deleted all of his tweets once it became clear that he was losing. He later apologized, saying, "I am sorry for acting out. I just try to defend myself, but sometimes I go too far." Back to the music and TV shows. Love you all. But by then, the damage had already been done. What makes this beef different is that it shows how the entertainment industry really works. There is an unspoken rule that everyone follows. Certain things are off limits until someone crosses that invisible line. Then it becomes fair game. When Soulja came after Marlon's son, Kai, with that transphobic nonsense, he crossed a serious line. Marlon has always been real about his journey with Kai. Back in June, he posted pride photos with a caption that made people call him the father of the year. As a father of a child in the LGBTQ+ community, Marlon showed his full support, not caring at all about what others think. He said, "If I lose you, good." That is why the LGBTQ+ community really stood up for Marlon when this all started. Protect Kai was trending within hours, and it did not take long for the brand deal Soulja Boy was depending on to start disappearing. Money talks, and it was saying, "We are good without you, Soulja." Marlon did not hold back with his response either. He completely shut down Soulja by saying, if Soulja Boy had a real career, he could be cancelled for this kind of thing. Soulja tried to talk badly about Marlon, but luckily, he has not been relevant since 2007. Then, he really took it too far by posting about how his child had top surgery and still has more chest than Soulja, adding a flex emoji. The post got 2 million likes in just a few hours, showing how much Marlon is really connected with the people. The craziest part is seeing who truly has power in the industry. Marlon built an entire empire, from In Living Color to White Chicks to his stand-up comedy today. Meanwhile, Soulja is still trying to make Crank That work like it is 2007, while pushing fake business deals. Look at who is supporting who. Every big celebrity is backing Marlon, while Soulja's side looks empty. Even people who worked with him on music suddenly act like they do not know him, and that silence speaks volumes about where he really stands now. We are seeing the fallout happen right in front of us. 3 big sponsors have already pulled their support, and his streaming numbers are going down fast. Meanwhile, Marlon is being inducted into the NAACP Image Awards Hall of Fame and is reportedly getting offers from major studios for LGBTQ+ focused projects. His social media is stronger than ever. Soulja may have started internet rap marketing a long time ago, but he just got outsmarted by someone who knows how to move in today's media world. Marlon played it smart, first with text, then pictures, and finally that country song. It was like a perfect example of how to win a beef in 2025. The big lesson here is simple. If your whole life is built on lies, do not come for a comedy legend's child, especially when that legend knows all the industry secrets that have been building up about you for years. On the scoreboard,